Deathspank.
Greetings, citizens! Macrat here from NoRamifications.net, and today I am bringing you the Baconing, featuring Deathspank. So, this week's game, I actually finally got around to playing to it. I've been getting very distracted by a lot of other games I've been mucking around with today. Such as, obviously, Nuclear Dawn that I reviewed last week. Still a very fun, very interesting game. Been playing a lot of that this week. I also picked up Gran Turismo 5 and been playing a lot of that, and of course Pokemon Black. But I finally got around to actually playing this game, and very glad I did, and very glad I chose this as the game to look at this week. So Deathspank basically is a hero of sorts. He's very cocksure of himself, very much a smartass, and the whole game as a whole pretty much just takes the piss out of itself, which is very rare for this kind of style of game. Normally you have the hero who is the main focus, and everyone loves them, and they're like, "Oh, hero," and it's all very, very serious. As with Deathspank, just completely takes all of that and just rips into it with every single part of this game. So coming up, we'll be leveling up throughout this game. So that's a big part. You actually get levels, you get stronger, but whenever you actually gain a level and you go up, you get what's called a hero card. So a hero card, as you're about to see coming up, is basically it's different things to give you a bit of extra ability for Deathspank. So you can basically do more damage, you can increase your health, you can allow your sidekicks to do more damage. And so sidekicks with this, basically you can actually do two-player of this game, so someone else can actually join in with the game that you're playing. I'm not sure how that works on desktops, but in consoles definitely that's an option for someone else to come in and be playing with you as a sidekick. Another thing that I really love about this game is the banter between the characters. So I don't know if you've been reading what's on screen, and if you missed it, definitely go back and have a read. It's just very witty, very tongue-in-cheek banter between all the characters, and it's just very, very clever writing. Some of the other things in this game that I'm really liking is just the design itself. If you play this game, take a real opportunity to look around and really take in the scenery of this game. It's just fantastic. I cannot rave enough about the art style of this game. It's very Invader Zim. If you've ever watched Invader Zim, I'm sure you'll know what I'm on about. If you haven't watched Invader Zim, as soon as this video is done, get a hold of some Invader Zim. Trust me, you'll like it. If you like this game, you'll like Invader Zim. But so just before, there was also a Lost and Found bin in the game. So Lost and Found is basically, well, throughout this game, it's very hard to try and, I guess, get things wrong and miss things in this game. It pretty much hands it to you. Like, you do enough looking around and it pretty much gives you everything you need to try and get past these levels. However, that doesn't actually mean it actually helps you pass the levels. I mean, the fights are still quite, I mean, you have to know what you're doing. You can't just run into the middle of the battle and just slash your weapon around and hope for the best. As you'll see coming up in this boss fight, you have to kind of know what you're doing. You have to be a bit intelligent with your maneuvers. But as far as the actual items go throughout the game and different things you need, like on the first level you need to get punch cards, for example, and they pretty much get handed to you and pretty much told exactly what you need to do to get all the right punch cards, and then figure out the right punch card code to get past a gate, and as I said, pretty much hands you everything. It's just a case of you then actually just doing things in the right order and to get, to win, which can be a bit difficult. But otherwise, I mean, it doesn't take away from gameplay at all, I think. It actually adds to it. You spend less time trying to figure out everything and trying to be, a bit of a puzzle solver, and more time just really getting to the dialogue and getting behind the character of Deathspank and progressing throughout the game, which I think is the big thing about this. Like, this game isn't about figuring out puzzles and, trying to use your brain. It's about just a whole lot of kick back, relax, and just have a whole lot of fun, which this game provides plenty of. So, throughout this boss fight, I actually believe I die the first time, which is sad. It's very upsetting when you die. But when you do die, you actually have, I guess, checkpoint outhouses is what you would call them. Or essentially a toilet. So whenever you die, you actually come out of the bathroom and continue on with your life. Also, when you're fighting and your health is getting low, up on the screen will pop giant hearts with skulls inside of them. It's basically a big giant flag of, hey, you're dying, maybe you want to do something about that. But yeah, as you can see, so when you die and you pop it to one of these outhouses. Now these outhouses are strewn across the levels, and normally it returns you to the closest one. But a couple of times I had ignored an outhouse and then I had died and it took me to one ages away from where I had been. So it's always a good idea to try and click on the outhouse closest to where you're currently questing, I guess. Makes life a lot easier to come back. Now, this boss fight annoyed me something chronic. As you can see, as I was running into the level, he was doing this attack that kind of shot a drill up from the ground and just sent me propelling towards him. So annoying. That's one of the things I mean about in this game, is that you have to be careful with what you're doing when in fights. Because if you're running low on health, and you're trying to run away and get your health back, this damn guy would just drill you right back to where he is, and it was very easy to be killed doing that. So I actually had to turn this game down to easy. I probably died about 6 times fighting this boss on medium difficulty of all things. Which probably says more about my skill as a player than it does about the game, I guess. But I eventually turned it down to easy and ended up beating the boss so I could move on. But as you can see, I mean, he has a flamethrower attack and you just want to stay way out of the way when you do that. Also before, when I died, earlier on, that was my own fault actually, found out. I went back, looked through the video very carefully. I had thrown a grenade when the boss was pretty much right in front of me and blew myself up. So things like that you want to be careful of. Don't blow yourself up. It's really not any fun. So talking a bit more about the game and about Deathspank and the baconing. This is a continuation from the first 2 games of Deathspank. So for those who weren't aware, yes, there are actually previous Deathspanks than the baconing. The first one was actually I believe it was called Orphans of Justice. And the second one was called Thongs of Virtue, and then this game continues on straight from Thongs of Virtue. And basically what has happened is Deathspank had these 5 Thongs of Virtue, and by thongs, for those in Australia, no, I'm not talking about the things that go on your feet. Americans would probably understand exactly what I'm talking about. Thongs, basically G-strings, underwear. So, the 5 G-strings or the 5 Thongs of Virtue. And Deathspank got bored basically and decided to wear all 5 pairs at once, which created a thongly disturbance, which created then an anti-spank. So basically a death spank that was bad. And it was your job to end up destroying the 5 Thongs of Virtue to destroy the anti-spank. But basically, look, at the end of the day, really loving this game, thoroughly enjoying it, love the art style, love the witty banter, and I think definitely go out and get the baconing. Cheers!